went out that day when I took Tatman's place. Something happened. I don't know what. But you see me now. I never went back into the diggings. I degenerated. I became what I am. And you are today just what you were when you went out to die for Mary Tatman, cried Kent. The same heart and the same soul are in you. Wouldn't you fight again today for her? A stifled cry came from Fingers' lips. My God, yes, Kent, I would. And that's why I wanted you, of all men, to come to me, Fingers, Kent went on swiftly. To you, of all the men on earth, I wanted to tell my story. And now, will you listen to it? Will you forgive me for bringing up this memory that must be precious to you, only that you might more fully understand what I am going to say? I don't want you to think of it as a subterfuge on my part. It is more than that. It is, Fingers. Is it inspiration? Listen, and tell me. And for a long time after that, James Kent talked, and Fingers listened, the soul within him writhing and dragging itself back into fierce life, demanding for the first time in many years the something which it had once possessed, but which it had lost. It was not the lazy, mysterious, silent Dirty Fingers who sat in the cell with Kent. In him the spirit of 20 years ago had roused itself from long slumber, and the thrill of it pounded in his blood. Two-fisted Fingers they had called him then, and he was two-fisted Fingers in this hour with Kent. Twice Father Layonne came to the head of the cell alcove, but turned back when he heard the low and steady murmur of Kent's voice. Nothing did Kent keep hidden, and when he had finished, something that was like the fire of a revelation had come into Fingers' face. My God, he breathed deeply. Kent, I've been sitting down there on my porch a long time, and a good many strange things have come to me, but never anything like this. Oh, if it wasn't for this accursed flesh of mine! He jumped from his chair more quickly than he had moved in 10 years, and he laughed as he had not laughed in all that time. He thrust out a great arm and doubled it up, like a prize-fighter testing his muscle. Old? I'm not old. I was only 28 when that happened up there, and I'm 48 now. That isn't old. It's what's in me that's grown old. I'll do it, Kent. I'll do it, if I hang for it. Kent fairly leaped upon him. God bless you, he cried huskily. God bless you, Fingers. Look at that. He pulled Fingers to the little window, and together they looked out upon the river, shimmering gloriously under a sun-filled sky of blue. 2,000 miles of it, he breathed. 2,000 miles of it, running straight through the heart of that world we both have known. No, you're not old, Fingers. The things you used to know are calling you again, as they are calling me, for somewhere off there are the ghosts of Lost City. Ghosts and realities. Ghosts and hopes, said Fingers. Hopes make life, softly whispered Kent, as if to himself. And then, without turning from the window, his hand found Fingers and clasped it tight. It may be that mine, like yours, will never come true, but they're fine to think about, Fingers. Funny, isn't it, that their names should be so strangely alike? Mary and Marette. I say, Fingers. Heavy footsteps sounded in the hall. Both turned from the window as Constable Pelly came to the door of the cell. They recognized this intimation that their time was up, and with his foot Fingers roused his sleeping dog. It was a new Fingers who walked back to the river 5 minutes later, and it was an amazed and discomfited dog who followed at his heels, for at times the misshapen and flesh-ridden Togs was compelled to trot for a few steps to keep up. and Fingers did not sink into the chair on the shady porch when he reached his shack. He threw off his coat and waistcoat and rolled up his sleeves, and for hours after that he was buried deep in the accumulated masses of dust-covered legal treasures stored away in hidden corners of the good old Queen Bess. End of chapter 11. Recording by Roger Moline.